against Wild Turtle and Adrian, who are two of the best bottom lane players in North America.
Here's the question, though. Will they even get to 2v2? Because lane
Sure.
swaps are so common in North American LCS. Probably much more common than they would even be in the Challenger Series. If he's getting the 2v2 against a farly inferior opponent at that point, if he's able to out-CS it that far.
Kalista, Tom Kent so far banned away from Renegades. Again, getting rid of the Kalista. Don't let them throw Remy into these fights. Lulu, Tom Kent is generally off the table here. No Fiora for Huni, no Janna for Adrian. So the KDA is safe at 51 for now.
Well, the Janna-specific KDA is safe.
The Janna KDA. And Quinn's a fun one because we've actually seen her a little bit. We saw her mid, Faker played her. We've seen her in the top lane a little bit as well over in China, but that leaves Graves up for Huni or Reynova, or maybe even Wild Turtle.
Yeah, it's been a big jungle and top lane pick across the world. And to speak a little bit more to the Quinn, especially in Korea from the LCK, who would probably be playing it within Huni, Smeb is a player whose Quinn is very ban-worthy. And you see a few Quinn top picks, but you actually see far more Quinn top bans against teams that are good at Quinn top. So it's one of those things that creates just a huge amount of map presence and is incredibly chaotic to deal with, but also very hard to master. So only a few teams are comfortable running Quinn top, but when there is someone who's comfortable running Quinn top, it's often bannable until teams get used to it. And that's Huni can play Quinn, Renegades has intel, they don't want to deal with it.
All right, so the Quinn is banned away, and out that goes. But Renegades may be trying to shore up some of their weaknesses from before, have picked some hard engage, so Remy is going to get Alistair. Corki comes in as a flex pick for Alex or OQ as well, and right away, Immortals already know what they wanted. Lucian comes in right away for Wild Turtle, and now there's Poppy for Reign over Huni, or maybe even Adrian.
Yeah, that's dangerous. I think it's going to be Poppy top, Graves jungle, which is a whole bunch of damage, and then Poppy can set up the crowd control for the Graves damage. Really like that early draft so far from Immortals. And I also think it's interesting that Remy picked Alistair over Thresh. Thresh, her longtime main champion, often banned away, but at the same time, their only win they picked up in the LCS was when she was on Alistair.
But I think it makes sense. It's, I think, them identifying sort of the needs of that team, that they need to have ways to get in and win the game. When Crumbs is killing and placing so many wards, they've got the vision lead. They just got to be able to capitalize on it. And so ways in are nice, but you can see the competition taking shape. Jungle Nidalee is in here. AD carry. Ezreal comes through for OQ, and it's going to be the standard sort of poke team.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Adrian gets Soraka next up.
Standard poke team against a Soraka. Adrian pulled out Soraka last year in the third place match, actually, against Team Liquid, and had to be heavily banned away because it just, no one could deal with it in the playoffs last year for North America. Typically, Soraka isn't seen in pro play because the roaming lane swapping game is so important, and a level 2 Alistair is going to do about 1,000,000% more than a level 2 Soraka in a lane swap. Walking into a lane swap and healing the 3 people pushing the turret doesn't help much.
Nope.
But here, against a poke composition, since Immortals already didn't pick the super hard engage that they used to punish Energy's poke composition last week, well, now they can just sit there and heal through it because Soraka can take care of the majority of the poke. I really love that pick, and the fact that Adrian has it in his deep pocket. And
Adrian is one of the only pros I've ever seen run Gold Generation. I checked his rune page just now. Yep, Gold Generation seals on that Soraka page. It's normal for him, but when you're not in the actual fights with Soraka, might as well go full greedy on the page. So he's gonna be rich. His income's gonna be there when Remy's won't. Trundle the last pickup here. So Renegades, yep, double tank, 3 poke champions, Corki mid, Ezreal AD carry, Nidalee jungle here for Crumbs. And Renegades running a pretty much tried and true triple poke, double tank composition. As you mentioned, Immortals, they don't quite have the hard engage, but they've got a Graves split push, which I think at this point now, you go Graves, so that your split push can knock turrets down as you withstand the poke. And Pobelter can wave clear, Wild Turtle can wave clear, and Adrian makes sure your poke doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah, they have until 20 seconds to swap back.
I don't think you change it.
Yeah, you're right, top lane Graves. So even though we've seen the majority of pro Poppy be top lane and pro Graves in the jungle, I still think Poppy is a better top laner, but I also think Graves is a better top laner than jungler if he's in the right matchup because of how hard he can shove the wave and just how much overall pressure he can add. Against a powerful ganking jungler, though, it's super dangerous. So I really want to see how well Reignover mimics Crumbs here, and whether or not Crumbs can punish Huni, because it's a very bold draft there by Immortals.
Trundle Nidalee can definitely kill Graves. We'll see if Huni can outplay that and make more highlight reel plays like he did against TIP, where they won a 2v4 at one point in the game. So if he can do that, good for them. But we're going to see if Immortals can make it 5-0. Tweet @LOL Esports with hashtag IMT win if it is going to be that, or hashtag REN win if the Renegades going to move back up the standings. I did misspeak earlier. They're currently 1-3. If they drop this game, they go back down to tied for 9th with Echo Fox. If they win, though, they're in a big tie for 6th along Cloud9, alongside Liquid, alongside Team Dignitas. Only 1 game behind 2nd, and this could be a resurgence of good things here for Renegades with OQ in the AD carry position. He is an incredibly skilled player, and this could be the turnaround for the squad. Here we go into our 5th game of the day.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the triple poke, double tank is kind of the tried and true team composition at this point. We see a lot of teams' willingness to pick into this, but it kind of completely lacks the midline, so to speak, of a team fight. So you're either positioned very well, but there's no in-between. Your damage dealers are so far away from your tanks that if you get flanked, everything falls apart very quickly. And of the double tank, triple poke teams we've seen in North America, almost all of them have lost because the execution has to be so clean since the forgiveness is so low if your squishies actually do get damaged on.
Adrian might not know about this. I don't know.
That's a really
really
aggressive place to be. But at the same time, both teams are kind of doing a defensive line start. So even if Remy had gone for the pulverize, Adrian most likely would have been able to escape.
Yeah, most likely lives as Soraka, so all is well. Coin start as well on Soraka makes total sense. Just a lot of gold generation, and Talisman of Ascension will help that team maneuver around. If they ever do want to get in, Reignover can block the dashes out from both Corki and Nidalee. And maybe will allow some kills to be picked up, but really Immortals have actually less engaged than Renegades have, and Renegades are the poke team.
Exactly, which is why this is a very bold draft for Immortals that I want to see how it plays out, because on one hand, they do have a large amount of sustain to deal with the poke, but on the other hand, they have fairly low engage in which to punish the poke. In fact, they kind of have a lot of poke themselves. They're shorter range double marksman and a Victor, but they can kind of push back with wave clear, and maybe instead of a poke composition and a counter flank going on here with Immortals, it's more going to be Immortals just shoving every wave and then creating split push pressure in which to disrupt the poke composition. At least theoretically, I want to see how this works.
Absolutely, and there's even further interesting context around how that even manifests in the lane swap. Just because a lot of times the reason that people don't even bother laning in the 1v2 is because the support walks into the brush and zones them out of getting gold and XP. Soraka is probably the least punishing support you could pick. And even still, actually, RF is giving the respect to Immortals to not even try to lane there. But this would be, if you were ever going to try to 1v2 a lane, as Trundle against Soraka might be the one you might try. Either way, not the case. All is well, which is both teams farming around. Renegades were able to actually start on the greedy side of their jungle and grab that red buff and then come down and then join the lane swap game and knock the turret down. Immortals, of course, do the same thing with Reignover and Huni, and they're going to walk right up for this turret.
Yeah. Kind of surprised we didn't see any attempted harass from Remy. A lot of that just has to go down to lane swap luck, but the first little bit of weakness from the Soraka, how well does a Soraka harass a jungler versus how well an Alistar can harass a jungle is hugely different. So already we're seeing not a huge amount of punishment from the early game Soraka, who I think will be much better in the mid lane game.
And the mid-lane game might come sooner than we think, as the turrets are already taking plenty of damage. Huni smartly walks into melee range of the turret. If you haven't ever done this as Graves, if you attack from max range, you'll actually miss 2 of the pellets on the turret. They spread out far enough that they won't hit. So into melee range guarantees that Huni gets full damage on this. Turret falls really quickly, 3 minutes 36 seconds. I think one of the fastest turret kills ever in North America, just because Graves is so good at that. Yeah. They are half a wave faster than Renegades, and though Echo Fox didn't knock the turret down in time, with Graves, Immortals might.
Right, what will happen here, because this is very similar to what we just saw from the COG Echo Fox game. Immortals pushes the wave clean into the turret, spend a little detour into the jungle, and are straight on to the next turret. So, RF Legendary has been left in the bottom lane. He will be there to soak up experience, and how quickly is Immortals going to abandon this play now that they see there's not a 4-man push on the bottom side? This, I think, will be the difference.
Yep, so RF denies plenty of minions. Down that goes. He'll build a freeze just fine for himself. Reignover taking this time to maybe try to roam, but that Trinket Ward, I believe, spotted him, so Alex is well aware that Reignover's trying to gank this, and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, taking the full scope of what happened in that early turret push, Huni's level 2.5, whereas RF Legendary is level 3.5. So that little extra push didn't necessarily help Immortals or Huni all that much. I would say it actually comes out in favor of Renegades.
Yeah, they sit at a 200 gold lead as a result. Mid laners are exactly equal in farm, but just more minions have been killed by Renegades here, and that could be Immortals just missing CS in the lane swap game. Or this, where Crimson jumping in for Huni, steals away the Gromp level 4 to level 2.
And the Gromp is a very large chunk of experience for Huni. That would have given him level 3, so now he's even further behind on this Graves and trapped in a difficult part of the lane swap. But at the same time, Immortals trying to keep the pressure up. Lucian and Soraka are pushing bottom, and the time has been bought because they saw people in the bottom side. Sneaky. Pobelter uses his heal to force a flash, which is better than using his flash to force a flash. This is actually the mirror of the matchup we just saw with Huhi versus Golden Food.
Yeah.
And Huhi crushed on the Corki in that matchup, whereas here Pobelter with the early edge over Alex.
And as we swap back into lanes, these people actually just completely mirrored what they did. The dual lanes went to the sides they weren't in before. The top laners basically just joined their dual lanes. You're going to see top lane outer go down about the same time that bottom lane outer goes down. So again, the same sorts of things happening here. We have to watch who can build the frozen wave afterwards. Immortals will lose this turret almost certainly. The Renegades try to make as many minions die as possible, but Huni's actually getting XP for all of this. And so experience gain-wise, not a terrible thing for Immortals.
That's the biggest question. RF Legendary, a few creeps from level 4, but because Huni leached so much experience at that turret, and the dive was not threatened while taking that turret, he's kind of back in the game, only down 6 CS. And now maybe a dive attempt by Reignover, who's quick on the move.
He's going to see RF, he's going to see OQ. Oh, flashes away just in time. Actually, that was flash after all, yes. OQ will survive that one, just barely. And that could have been a lot of damage dealt. Still a summoner lost, and Immortals want to take over the top side of the map.
So really no big advantages gained thus far.
True.
That's for sure.
Pretty close to mirrored outcomes here, and even despite the flash force and Pobelter forcing an awkward recall, mid lane farm still very close to the same. As the Minion Wave dies, it'll be, I think, what, +2 for Pobelter? And all as well. The smallest of gold leaves, that's mostly from waves being pushed in. Wild Turtle was left alone in the bottom lane. He then roamed over to Krugs, and now without enough ward coverage to be safe from dives, he's letting the wave die because he doesn't know he would be safe. And in fact, he wouldn't be with Alistar right there.
Yeah, the Alistar very threatening. Meanwhile, we see Adrian on the other side of the map just healing the Graves as he pushes the turret, allowing him to take turret shots if he so chooses.
You can see he bounces the Q up the turret, and yeah, RF realizing this is not the easiest trade. Yeah. It's very easy in range versus melee matchups to punish caster minion CS.
And that's exactly why Graves can be so powerful in the top lane, because the turret is an instant detonation for the Q.
Renegades, of course, showing they had 2 people there under the turret. Level 4 on Remy. This is a bit dangerous. Reignover pulverized, the flash, and gets himself knocked up to 6. The push in for Remy. Yes, first blood. Reignover got so much farm, and now the other 2 taken out. Renegades, unaware of how many people were down on this side of the map. 4v2, 2 kills picked up.
Completely surprising me that he was level 6, but he was level 6 that whole time.
OQ's really? Out of summoners. This will be another one. What a great chase.
Well, there you go. Immortals takes control of the game right there. Renegades thinking they should have the experience edge early on, but really they do not, because Reignover got a lot of experience just in the lane swap back and forth and fast farming on Poppy of all junglers. That's the thing. Poppy is a very slow jungle when compared to Nidalee. You almost never expect the Poppy to be out-leveling the Nid, but that's exactly what happened here.
Oh, he sees him. I think Alex had enough mana to Valkyrie away. I could be wrong, but
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so level 6 the whole time against a level 4 and a level 5. That's why he's so free to go in. Also, the Lucian can rotate over before the Ezreal, and the teleport threatens them right there, but knock him up for the delay. Pobelter also, or sorry, Wild Turtle also flashing forward, by the way, to pick up 2 kills. Success with the forward flash.
Despite months last year of being told you never flash forward, you save it for escapes. Wild Turtle able to play full aggressive, and you'll also note, I think this is important, that OQ did not even begin to move up. right? The only non-English speaker on this team. Wild Turtle showed, and it's about equal distance from where OQ was as well. But RF didn't TP, Huni did. Wild Turtle showed up, OQ didn't. And that's what happens when you get a 4v2.
Absolutely. So that already translates into a 1400 gold lead. OQ going very slow ramping build right now, tier into Sheen. A lot of Ezreals we've been seeing have been going straight for a Manamune just to get that early pump of AD. But here, very low AD for OQ, so yeah, he'll be able to CS from range, but if they ever get into another turret pushing situation, they're gonna have pretty low damage on the turrets.
And RF gonna try to absorb scraps in the top, and then of course RF never TP'd out of that lane when Huni went down, so he got some farm, he got some XP. Huni got kill and assist. Mid lane under fire. Alex got to be pretty careful about being in even a 2 versus 3, a bit difficult. Remy level 5, now has Crumbs around, and Rainover's behind this one though. And you can see Renegades having to split their focus at pushing Rainover away means they don't get to really zone out Huni and co, and that turret's down to about 1/3.
As far as safety of dives, though, and who's flanking, the Poppy in this context is incredibly safe. Poppy puts up a steadfast presence. Alistair can't headbutt towards him. Corki can't Valk into his zone, and Nidalee couldn't leap to get on him either. Like, it's an incredibly safe pick against those people who are going to close on him. And Rainover, once again, with some really solid early game pressure.
0, 0, and 2, doing just fine for the team. Huni gonna let Rainover get the Rift Herald.
What is that, 3 for 3 on Rift Herald going to the jungler today?
I think so.
I approve North American LCS.
Good job.
I approve.
Did you know that if, I believe this is true, I could be wrong, so good did you know, but if both people stand on that little gemstone that drops from Rift Herald, neither one gets it until someone leaves.
Oh,
so you just play a game of chicken. Right, the game doesn't just like pick one for you. I could be wrong, but you can just sit there and be like, no, you leave. I've never had that happen, but like I've noticed, oh, this picked up late.
Well, thanks
someone
to you.
always like plays chicken really quickly.
Thanks to you, it's going to happen now. In all the games that people want to get Rift Herald. So you can thank Freak for that.
Watch, it's not even true. It just goes to one at random. Did you know I didn't? Because it was false. Oh, okay. Rainover, pretty much omnipresent, looking for something to do in the mid lane. Didn't find any wards to kill.
Well, that's what'll help with this Rift Herald buff as well, is he just gets much more mobility. Also an interesting choice that he's gone for a Sightstone super early into the game. And for once, Crumbs actually didn't go for a Sightstone. All the prior games of Crumbs, he's been playing Rek'Sai or Elise and actually going with a Combat Smite and a Sightstone, and then he's been losing out on fights, but he's had tremendous vision stats. Here, maybe Rainover thought he needed to go Sightstone to keep up with Crumbs, but Crumbs has gone the other way and just gone with the Tracker's Knife, which gives you kind of early warding, but then less overall coverage when compared to a Sightstone because you can't store as many wards. I think that's just an interesting little swap that these teams have done.
But will Rainover go Sightstone, Tracker's Knife?
I think that's just too many wards.
I think they also share the same unique passive, so they wouldn't even like be useful.
Oh, really?
I'll bet you, actually, we can do it right now. Sightstone unique passive is called Warding.
Yep.
The other one's called Warding. Yep, they wouldn't even stack.
Yeah, that is how you tell if the unique passive will stack, is if it's the same name, by the way, because sometimes the unique active or passive will change depending on whether the item is upgraded or not, so good job. We checked.
So like Luden's Echo and Runic Echoes couldn't stack, for example. Nor can you stack all the Last Whisper variants, because the passive is all called Last Whisper.
Right. When you upgrade from a Warden's Mail to a Frozen Heart, the passive changes.
Yes.
And then you can stack a Frozen Heart's attack speed reduction with the Warden's Mail attack speed reduction.
Yeah. But a Warden's Mail and Randuin's do not stack, because they have the same name.
All the information.
All the information.
Yeah. Too much information. You don't
Probably.
have any of it.
I have that problem. I should fix that at some point. Huni with 3 long swords, a Doran's Blade, and a serrated Dirk. So very sword-focused shotgunner.
Yeah. That is one nice thing about Graves right now, is you can pretty much just always build long swords, and you will always be able to complete them into something.
That's true. I fought against 3 BF Sword Lucian yesterday. We then bought Eye-Edge and Essence Reaver and a Bloodthirster.
I feel like that's a mistake to get the 3 BF swords to begin with.
It looked really cool, though.
Oh,
and Rainover wants to look cool walking to the top lane here. RF's going to be in a pretty bad spot. Lands the Q slow, lands the point blank ulti, and he's going to save the pushback till he's right in front of the wall, but doesn't actually land the stun. So it's going to be a flash from Huni. Wow! Rainover really wanted that kill, so Huni's going to zone the team out as he walks back outside the base.
flashed into the base to close that kill. That's how slow the collapse would have been from Renegades, and then they go on Crumbs.
They don't quite kill him off, and now it's really bad for Rainover. Stops the headbutt, so a flash pulverize comes in. There comes Swish, there comes Adrian, and they're still dying, though. It's a bit too aggressive for Immortals. Huni still gets some heals. He's going to get hit up by Corki. He gets another heal, starts running away. He might actually stay alive somehow. Another heal from Adrian. Crumbs on the side. Can he dodge? Actually has no mana, but we'll go in for the execute. Picks that one up, and Exhaust comes through as well. Adrian's in a bad spot, gets chunked out as well, and wow, over-aggression by Immortals.
The banana ambulance was not enough as he was trying to desperately save Huni on the backside. And I'm really sorry about that because Adrian's KDA is now never going to reach 100. He was at 51 before the game. Now he cuts it down to 26. But just watching this, if they get the stun, yes, they get the kill. But that was a really aggressive move. They probably should have been going backwards behind the turret since they did have the Soraka on the way. Rainover isn't quite savable from here. But here you can really see that if they hadn't gone for the aggressive dive, how easily they could have actually stayed alive. Look at how long Adrian is able to keep Huni alive. And Crumbs actually has to back off because if he takes a shotgun shot to the face, he's dead. It's not until the Trundle teleports in that they're actually able to close that off. So nice punish eventually by Renegades on the over-aggression there from Immortals.
All right, well, that brings the game a little bit closer now. 2.7 thousand is not nearly an insurmountable deficit. Fully upgraded Hex Core from Pobelter. He's also got the makings of either Luden's or Deathcap or Zonia's, one of the three. Adrian is actually not gone for Talisman of Ascension, so I guess that went wrong. He's actually combined that into his Sightstone, which now as of 6.1 does give 10% CDR, so it's a pretty cheap way to get those kind of stats.
Yeah.
Right now we're pushing Remy out. They can't quite finish off Rift Herald, but Huni really wants to keep doing damage to RF, who's now chunked below half. Herald walks back home. And a missed headbutt pulverize that still chunks Adrian quite low, but thankfully the silence field actually still gets the root. Pobelter low. Adrian can heal up for now.
Yeah, but he can only heal so much. He's already very low here. It's going to be difficult to defend this turret.
Really nice poke by Renegades. But the threat of Huni's too much, and mouth they go. Huni has actually gone for a very aggressive build by rushing Youmu's Ghost Blade. So no defensive stats at all, but a lot of armor pen. And a lot of attack damage. We typically see a more bruiser-focused Graves build, but right now he's running quite squishy.
Yeah. And nearly able to take out Crumbs, but Crumbs has gone with a somewhat defensive build there with the Catalyst. If not for the health from the Catalyst, Crumbs would have died there. So worthy attempt for the kill from Huni. This actually opens up a window for them to just go straight for the Dragon, since Huni just pulls the opponent jungler off the map with the combo.
That's going to be Dragon #1 of the game, going over to Immortals. They sit +1 on Dragon's turrets and kills each. OQ is playing defensively down to this bottom lane. Plenty of farm, 130, but actually right now getting outdone by Wild Turtle, who's just kind of had more freedom to run across the map anyway.
He is continually getting some good tier stacks, though. 523 already. When he went with the tier Sheen build, kind of guarantees the fact that he's going to have enough mana to just spam through and stack up the tier of the goddess pretty quickly. So when the Mana Mune does complete, it'll almost instantly go over to Amura Mana, and despite being down in CS to Wild Turtle and even in kills, it's going to be a really powerful spike for OQ, and would probably be the opportunity Renegades would have to come back in the game.
And we'll see when that comes across. We've actually seen in the Immortal versus Energy matchup, actually, that even if you're in a 3v4, the poke sometimes is too much to deal with, and you can be pushed off the turrets and fall behind quite quickly. A comp like this, of course, is prone to snowballing either direction, but right now they're in that middle ground where either team can win. But 1 or 2 lost fights either direction could really push this game out of control.
Yeah. And for all the aggression Immortals has shown in the past games, this is the least amount of initiation we've seen from them.
Yeah.
Which will create some maybe interesting choices later on in this game. Renegades also sticking pretty close, I would have to say, when we consider how ugly some of their games have looked, and the fact that Immortals has looked mostly unstoppable. I want to see how this progresses, because Immortals, how will they force fights without having huge fight-forcing tools?
Yeah.
And also no Talisman even on the Soraka to boost them in.
Yeah, until you get, like, what, Righteous Glory on Rainover or something, which maybe becomes a build at some point, but Deadman's Plate's next for now. Wild Turtle has Rift Herald, so he's going to run across the map and look for as many ways in as he can. And maybe buffing up these minions could be enough, but of course Renegades have decent tools for wave clear, Ezreal ultimate, Corki spam, and even Nidalee jamming javelins with Runic Echoes isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Minions die pretty fast. They get some turret damage in. Wild Turtle's damage buff via having Rift Herald does help with that.
Yeah, this time they give him Rift Herald to Wild Turtle because he is the most farmed member of the team, and they're just looking to amplify his damage. Although Adrian is a little bit too close to the damage dealers. Getting
injured quite a bit. Adrian can only have so much health regen. Most of the regen actually on Talisman of Ascension, or its build-up. Actually, Eye of the Oasis, right? Yeah, is actually from minions dying around, so he has to stay in minion waves to get his health back from using Soraka's heal, as that spell does injure you for even casting it. So Adrian has to be careful to actually sit around those. He goes for his probably Locket next item, which also gives health regen, which is an important stat for Soraka. Huni does not continue to push this one down, does not seem to have... I guess he has wards, but is afraid of Alex fighting him with the rest of the team already recalling back, so doesn't push in for the turret damage. Yeah, the aggressive moves that Immortals have, I think, are pushing turrets more so than pushing enemy champions. At least those can't run away, so move speed is less important there. True. And hoping that Huni wins this 1v1 enough that he gets turret damage in, or that Wild Turtle can get a few pot shots in during a push.
And as far as single champion wave clear spells, Huni's Q and Pobelter's E are two of the best in the game. Just one spell clear a whole wave, so they can shove super quickly. But I still think it's really dangerous against a poke composition like this to not have safe engage options.
Yeah.
They do have the healing, but I mean, that is limited. Adrian can only heal so much before he runs out of his own health. And then he'd still be vulnerable to a Nidalee Spear, an Ezreal ult, or a Corki Missile, and just at that point could one-shot him if they get poked too hard.
That's very, very true. Well, Adrian's going to do the best he can for that one. Got himself a Ruby Crystal, got himself another pink ward, and a couple of health potions. Some biscuits in case he gets hungry. We'll see what more Immortals can do. 3,600 lead is actually slightly growing in Immortals' favor here. The sort of general holding pattern of not much happening is actually still in favor of the blue team. As far as late game scaling, I don't think there's any obvious winners. One team might be theoretically stronger late game, but not by a huge enough margin to make a huge difference here. Remy getting attacked though. Red buff on still does tree damage through the ulti and slowly getting chipped down by the culling. Gets healed right back up by one press of the E, but Huni getting outstatted now by RF Legendary. Has to run as fast as he can. There's a Frozen Domain. There's another hit and a nice wish by Soraka. Probably going to the time to stay safe. It is a flash lead for Huni, who did not burn his to get away. And actually did not have ult during that fight at all, so we'll have him for the next battle.
And it burned ultimate from the Soraka, which is a small win, but like you said, the flash could make a big difference later in a team fight.
He's TPing on top of him.
Whoa, he's coming back for more with Home Guards!
Oh, but the graphic cone says you need to stop. You're in the wrong lane. Calm down, Constable Trundle.
Only Huni would teleport back into that fight. Oh, well, at least he's going to get some nice turret damage down, which should trigger Renegades to push in. There's no longer a teleport flank option, but they can't get past this wave clear.
They can't. They don't even try. Like, the minion wave was alive, but they knew how hopeless it would be, and so they backed up before the wave clear even killed the minions. Because why waste the 5 seconds when you could kill wards in the jungle, get control back of your own side of the map like this, and be positioned for it? But Crumbs, whoa!
Yeah, the one person who's running away with this game would be Wild Turtle. If we look at the total gold, the fact that he's 2-0, the fact that he is 40 CS over top. Never mind. There goes Alex.
Alex Pobelter, who's already been exhausted as well. He can't even flash out successfully. And whoa! The solo kill for Alex Ich opens up a lot of this game.
Yeah, Pobelter could not walk back over the package zone there. He got tremendously slowed and allowed Alex to just beast him down with the exhaust as well. That's actually very critical. So finally, for Renegades, this is what they've actually been lacking most of their games. Someone makes a play on their own, and it's not Remy that had to do it. So they're now getting counter-engaged on. What?
Well, someone made a play against Remy at the same time. She goes down the silence zone. Underneath the Poppy knockup guarantees no escape tools available for Alex, even if the flash were up. And you're going to see that mean right away, turrets are falling.
After losing a mid laner, very few teams will be looking to make a fight, and I think that just lulled Renegades into a sense of security. Now Immortals with a very strong push and a 4-0 Lucian for Wild Turtle.
And right now Renegades leaving RF Legendary to push the bot lane down, gets the turret, then takes the TP, does manage to trade tier 2 turrets, saves the inhib 1 for now. In the game, under 5,000 apart.
Yeah. Wow, what a strange series of events right there. Great solo kill by Alex Ich, and then really an inexplicable turnaround there by Immortals. Didn't necessarily see where Renegades was wandering because I wasn't expecting anything to happen at that point. Was going to mention, though, that Wild Turtle is thousands of gold ahead of everyone else in this game. It's something that's happened on Lucian a few times. This was just, Remy was around the wall. They burst her down clean, and Alex Each is caught up in the fray. He was next to his support, but the rest of Renegades wasn't there. At this point, even though Pobelter had died, Huni was in the mid lane. So it was an even numbers fight regardless, even if they didn't get a pick, which is why they're willing to take the 4v4, knowing that RF wasn't able to teleport up quickly.
Yeah. But well done by Immortals. They put themselves in a decent spot where they've broken down a large number of turrets. They've kept the gold lead in their favor, and they've kept the kill lead actually even now further in their advantage, making life difficult for the Renegades squad, who have pretty particular requirements to siege properly. And with Dragon number 2 on the field now, this should not even be hard for Immortals to take. Probably uncontested, to be honest.
How fast Wild Turtle can take this down.
Like, his team's not even around to defend him. This is always interesting. We talked about last game, the mind games and lane swaps, doing it without vision and you know, reacting based on what you think your opponents are going to do. A little bit of that here. RF actually late to the party, realized Dragon's been taken down, walks into where he knew the team was taking Dragon, flanked by Huni, attacked by Wild Turtle, dodging forward, really wants his kill to happen, but look how fast RF's running, but Huni cutting out the escape path, blocks the Q off the wall, couple more shots will do it, there's the kill picked up, but a dive in the mid lane, one kill already goes through onto Pobelter, and now the push continues. Gravity Field buys a bit more time, but still, this is not something that can be easily defended. Reignover really wants it down to OQ, though, and they get quite a bit of damage. Adrian puts in the heals. Wild Turtle chasing onto Crumbs, flashing away. OQ really wants to get out of this fight, but Wild Turtle walking into a 1v3, healed up by Adrian. Maybe a bit more than he wanted, but the root comes through to Crumbs. Now Reignover once again on the chase. Can he kill off Remy? Yes, she goes down. Now Huni flashing in, just misses, but now Wild Turtle picks up where his teammate left off. They're going after everybody now. Crumbs and OQ, the last two alive. Stun doesn't land, but it's enough to knock down the Nidalee. And now Wild Turtle smells blood.
Yeah, I mean, is this even worth the chase? Immortals has people in the mid lane that can kill the turret, and I guess they're just going to keep OQ busy here by chasing him down with the Poppy and Lucian.
Yeah, he's going to die.
Yeah, they're going to check.
What? Hits the minions. There's the stun. There's the kill. Wild Turtle has got like 7-0-3.
Oh, but because they chased for so long, RF actually comes out and defends the turret, which will be regaining health over time. Overall, still a massive team fight win for Immortals, but it all starts with the catch on to RF Legendary, and then Renegades not wanting to give that up and really seeing that as their opportunity to get through the wave clear, seeing as their main DPS source on Immortals was gone, but they just kill Pobelter, and then Wild Turtle was so fast running back up, and he just sticks around. There's no ultimate on Remy. Ward right there. Headbutt to get away.
All right, smart play.
The only way she's going to live, really.
That's true. Ulti was still down, no flash, no ignite.
It's going to start Baron. Okay.
They're going to sweep Baron.
Back away.
Okay.
Wild Turtle just suddenly has 2,000 more gold. 13,500 gold, 27 minutes into the game.
He's 3,000 above anyone else.
Yeah.
That is a sizable lead.
There's been a lot of that this year for Immortals. Wild Turtle crushing pretty much everyone in North American LCS as far as kill scores go. This game looking no different.
Yeah, and it's interesting that it's Immortals sort of playing around him and that he's always the one cleaning up. He's got 10 out of 11 kill participation this game, highest on the team, more than the jungler, more than the mid laner. It's always Wild Turtle being involved when things go down. And just like this, pushing in for that one, doesn't quite get it. Crumb's forced to flash away from Reignover, though. As a hop wouldn't do it, knocks him forward, can't quite get the stun, though. Reignover just narrowly missing stuns this game.
Gives him a window to take down that very low turret, though.
And it does go down. 28 minutes in, onto the inhibitor already. RF and Huni in a bit of a battle. You can see RF actually holding up in the matchup quite nicely. Two-man stun comes through from Remy. And now Reignover has to walk backwards. Not the tankiest person ever. Remy with the ultimate on is definitely that, but still getting whittled down and still drops another kill for Wild Turtle, who is now legendary.
Alex used the package, I think, to get out of the base, and Wild Turtle, he's just going to keep hitting people.
And it's going to do so much damage. Of course, a hugely fed Lucian. The team is basically full health thanks to Adrian's efforts here. And as minions die, the health bar comes back up. Already a pickoff. Pobelter getting killed for himself. OQ now running away. Very injured as well. Double inhib's already taken down. Wild Turtle again. Always wants to go forward.
Yeah, he is so strong right now, and he has the healing backup of his Bloodthirster as well as this Rocket. Immortals looks to just be steamrolling through Renegades for the win here.
They're looking for, what, the third sub-30-minute win of the day, actually. A lot of very one-sided fights here as Immortals pushing in, killing people inside the base. Wild Turtle gets his 11th kill, a triple inside the Renegades base. The Nexus will go down just after 29 minutes, and Immortals still cannot be stopped. 5-0.
The second 11-kill Lucian game Wild Turtle has had already in 5 games. A nice quick finish for Immortals in what was a bit of a slow start. We had a few questions about whether or not they'd be able to find fights on such a heavy poke composition, but they just brute forced right through Renegades. If Renegades wasn't going to fight them, Immortals would just kill the turret and continue to push until Renegades was willing to fight. And that type of relentless pursuit and aggression from Immortals leads to a quick win.
It's very good by them. Not having the best of engage tools makes it a bit harder to get these picks, but to still take down a Nexus before 30 minutes is impressive. And one other thing is that even though the scoreline looks so biased, Wild Turtle has 11 of his team's 16 kills, it was actually very much a team effort. He was enabled by Adrian's heals, but also if you look at the damage graph, every single person not named Soraka had at least half as much damage as his Lucian.
Wow.
Graves was very close, Victor wasn't far behind there, even Reignover did more than half the damage of Wild Turtle. So everyone was definitely involved in these fights. They were all putting in the damage output, getting the CC, getting the lockdown, getting the push, getting what have you. But Wild Turtle gets the fantasy points.
Yeah, he gets a lot of them.
Yep.
Double-digit kill bonus for sure. OQ tried his best in his substitute effort, but really they were just getting so pressured by the overall Immortals team, and that has been the story for them in most games. They just are so fast and quick in their decision-making and willingness to fight.
Yeah.
And unless you are very ready to set up a counter engage, they're just going to run away with it.
And Reignover